Her stepmothers, who had always looked down on her, were stunned. They couldn't believe what had just happened. Bisi, the youngest and the only girl in the family, had outsmarted everyone. She had turned from being the least to the most powerful person in the kingdom, all with one wise decision. Once upon a time, in the heart of a vibrant African kingdom, there lived a rich man named Dele. He was very rich and owned big farms where he grew cocoa, cola, and many other crops. Dele was famous in his village for his big farms. Many people worked for him. Some were servants and some were slaves. Dele's farm was always full of activity, and everyone in the village respected him. Dele had a big family too. He was married to 7 women, and each one had given him a son, except for his last wife, Aduni, who had a daughter for him. Her name was Bisi. Bisi was special because she was the only girl in the family. Dele loved her very much and always took good care of her. Bisi was different from her brothers. She was not just pretty, but also very kind and smart. While her brothers spent their time enjoying their father's wealth, buying expensive things, and having fun all the time, Bisi liked to do other things. She would often go with Dele to the farm, watching everything and learning. She knew how important the land and the hard work of the people were. In Dele's family, things were not always happy. The other wives and their sons did not like Bisi and her mother. They were jealous because Dele took good care of them. The sons were also jealous of Bisi. They thought their father liked her more. But Bisi didn't let this bother her. She was always nice to everyone. Even when people were mean to her, she stayed calm and respectful. She liked to go to the farm with her father and Ayo. She learned a lot from them. Ayo, who was a head servant, was always with Dele. He had worked for Dele for more than 30 years. Dele trusted him a lot and treated him like he was part of the family. Ayo liked Dele a lot too. He noticed that Bisi was special. Unlike her brothers, Bisi listened to Ayo's stories and learned a lot from him. The farm was where Bisi learned many things. Her brothers were busy with their own fun, but she was learning about the plants, the earth, and the best times to plant and harvest. She understood how the farm worked and the hard work of the people who looked after it. Bisi loved her father's farm very much. This love for the land and for learning was going to help her a lot one day. One sad day, something bad happened in the village. Dele, who was loved by many, got very sick. Despite everyone's hopes and prayers, Dele could not get better, and he died. The whole village felt sad. People talked about how kind he was and remembered all the good things he did. After Dele's death, it was time to share what he left behind. This was a big deal because Dele was very rich. His family came together, wondering what Dele had left for them. But there was a big surprise waiting for them. Dele had written a will, which is a paper that says who should get his things after he is gone. Everyone expected that Dele's children would get his wealth, but the will said something else. Dele left a surprise. All his property, which included his big farms, slaves and servants, some money and even houses, were all willed to Ayor, the head servant. People couldn't believe it, but Dele had a plan. For his own children, Dele had a different plan. Each child could choose only one thing from all his wealth. The oldest child would choose first and then the next, and so on. Because Bisi was the youngest, she would be the last to choose. This meant she would have fewer things to choose from. Dele's decision shocked everyone. His sons, who had always enjoyed their father's wealth, now had to think hard about what they wanted the most. And for Bisi, who was always thoughtful, this was a chance to show what she had learned from her father and Ayo. The village waited to see what each child would choose, especially Bisi, who was the last and the only girl. That night, the sons and their mother started to think and plan. They wanted to choose the best things. They talked about money, land, jewelry, and houses. They all wanted to get rich from what they would pick. But Bisi felt different. She was sad about her father. She didn't care about the money or the land. She didn't know what to choose. She felt lost. She remembered her father and how he took care of her. She wished he was still here. The day came when Dele's children had to pick what they wanted from their father's wealth. Everyone in the family was curious to see what each son would choose. The eldest son went first. He thought for a while and then chose a bag full of cowries. Cowries were used like money, so this meant he chose a lot of wealth. He looked happy with his choice, thinking about all the things he could do with the money. Next, it was time for the second and third sons to choose. They both liked things that would last a long time and grow in value, so they picked jewelry. They got gold and beautiful beads that shone in the sun. They were pleased, believing these jewels would keep their wealth safe for years. Then came the fourth son. He wanted something big and grand. He chose the most beautiful house in the whole kingdom, a house that everyone admired, owned by his late father, Dele. It was a house fit for a king, and now it was his. The other sons, following their brothers, also chose money and jewelry. They all wanted things that showed how rich they were. As each brother made his choice, Bisi watched quietly. Her stepmothers and even some of her brothers thought she would not get anything good. They believed all the valuable things were already taken. They laughed and whispered, thinking Bisi would only get something small and not important. But Bisi did not worry. She had a plan in her mind, something no one else had thought about. She waited patiently for her turn, knowing exactly what she would do. The village was curious too, wondering what the smart and kind Bisi would choose from her father's wealth. Bisi watched all this. She saw her brothers picking. She started to think, what should she pick? She didn't care about money or jewelry. She wanted something different. Bisi went to talk to Ayo. Ayo was wise. He knew a lot. Bisi asked him, what should I choose? Ayo thought for a moment. Then he said, choose something that will make your father's heart happy. Bisi didn't understand at first, but she kept thinking about it. The night before her turn, Bisi couldn't sleep. She thought about her father, her brothers, and Ayo's words. She wanted to make a good choice. She wanted to make her father proud, even though he was not here anymore. She finally made a decision. She knew what she would choose. It was something nobody else thought about. She felt sure about it. Bisi was ready for the next day. She would surprise everyone. Finally, the seventh day arrived. It was Bisi's turn to choose, and everyone in the kingdom was watching. People whispered and guessed what she might pick. Her brothers had already taken the money, jewelry, and the best house. What could be left for Bisi? They wondered. Bisi stood in front of everyone, calm and confident. She looked around at all the things her brothers had chosen. Then she spoke. She didn't want money, jewels, or houses. Instead, Bisi made a surprising choice. All I want is Ayo, the chief servant, she said. People really never seemed to understand her. Then she continued, since part of what my father left behind is his servants, I wanted Ayo, his chief servant. Thereby, Ayo himself and whatever he now owns will become mine. Everyone was shocked. No one had thought of this. By choosing Ayo, Bisi was actually choosing everything her father had left to him. This meant all the farms, the wealth, and everything else that was now Ayo's would belong to Bisi. It was a smart and unexpected move. Her stepmothers, who had always looked down on her, were stunned. They couldn't believe what had just happened. Bisi, The youngest and the only girl in the family had outsmarted everyone. She had turned from being the least to the most powerful person in the kingdom, all with one wise decision. Bisi's choice showed she was not just kind and smart, she also understood her father's ways and the value of true wisdom. The kingdom now saw her in a new light. She wasn't just the last born or the only girl. She was the one who carried her father's legacy and wisdom. Bisi had become the most important and respected person in the land just by being thoughtful and clever. You see, the moral lesson of this story is that wisdom and kindness are more valuable than material wealth. Bisi's choice shows the importance of valuing people and relationships over possessions. True wealth is found in our actions, respect for others, and making decisions that benefit the whole community. This story teaches us that the best inheritance is the wisdom and values passed down from our elders, not just material things. I hope you enjoyed the story. If so, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell for more stories like this one. Goodbye.